Welcome to How to Play Horus Heresy 3rd edition. In this video, we are going to explain and discuss the tercios of the Solar Auxilia. The numerous hosts of the Solar Auxilia, more so than even their Astartes contemporaries, are a combined arms force, a massive mechanism of several moving parts, all working as a single cohesive whole. Each part of the Solar Auxilia may have its own focused and specialised role on the battlefield, but it does this as part of the wider force supporting and complementing its comrades, shoring up any weaknesses with overwhelming numbers and armour. A key part of this combined arms approach is the Tercio, specialised divisions of warriors that serve directly under veteran commanders, utilising specialist tactics and advanced strategies to prosecute their battles. If you are looking for other videos on how to play the game, then you can find them all on the channel in a dedicated playlist. And if this video helps you, then please give it a like, consider sharing it with a fellow Heresy player, and let me know how you are enjoying the rules of the new edition. You could also consider joining the Hopeless Heresy Legion by subscribing and hitting the bell for more Horus Heresy goodness. A Tercio is a specialised auxiliary detachment available to Solar Auxilia armies separate from the core detachments presented in the core rulebook. Tercios provide the units within a unique buff or special rule when used in conjunction with a specific commander. Essentially, a Tercio is a special detachment that rewards you playing with a specific commander and using particular tactics. Multiple different Tercios can be taken in the same army, and their special rules make them a powerful force on the tabletop. By using multiple Tercios, you can create an incredibly powerful and effective combined arms force. First of all, we should discuss how you unlock Tercios. Although a Tercio is an auxiliary detachment, you do not unlock it as you would with others. Normally, you would choose any high command or command battlefield role in your primary detachment, and then choose an auxiliary detachment afterward. To unlock a Tercio, you must choose a specific command option to unlock it. There are currently 5 Tercios in the Liber Auxilia army book, and 5 specific command options needed to unlock them. They are the Infantry Tercio, which you can unlock using a line command section, the Veletaris Tercio, which you can unlock using a Veletaris command section, the Artillery Tercio, which you can unlock using an artillery command section, the Scout Tercio, which you can unlock using a Hermes command section, and the Armour Tercio, which you can unlock using an armour command section. You can unlock a single Tercio using the command unit. So if I chose a Hermes command section for my army, I could unlock 1 Scout Tercio. If I chose 2 line command sections, I could take 2 Infantry Tercios. Note that the Armour Tercio can also be unlocked by the Dracozan command tank, which is available in the Battle for Talarn Journal Tactica. You can find a full video on the Dracozan command tank above. Let's look at each of the Tercios individually, and how they interact with the command unit used to unlock them. The first Tercio is the Infantry Tercio. These Tercios represent the massed hordes of last rifle armed infantry the Solar Auxilia are famed for, alongside supporting transports and scout vehicles. You would select this Tercio if you wanted to flood the board with well-drilled infantry, and also if you wanted to be more effective at scoring objectives. First of all, you must select a line command section in one of your command force organisation slots. When a line command section is selected, you can unlock 1 Infantry Tercio. The line command section with no upgrades or options costs 65 points. The Infantry Tercio has 5 force organisation slots, 2 troop slots, 1 recon slot, and 2 heavy transport slots. The first troop slot is a prime slot. The Infantry Tercio comes with a few stipulations on what units you can select. The troop slots can only be used for last rifle sections, and the recon slots can only be used for Hermes light sentinel squadrons. Otherwise, all these units' individual upgrades and options are available, and there are no limitations on the heavy transport slots. All models and units in this detachment gain the Infantry Tercio trait. This trait allows the units in the detachment to interact with the line command section in a unique way using the special rule Close Order. If, during the battle, a unit with the Infantry Tercio trait can draw line of sight to your line command section and is within 18 inches of the line command section, then that unit can add +1 to the value of their line X special rule when scoring. Only a single model in the unit needs to have line of sight and be within 18 inches for the whole unit to benefit from this buff. Note, this is a buff to an existing line X special rule. It does not provide the line special rule to units that do not already have it. Both my Infantry Tercio Lash Rifle sections are on 1 point objectives. Both the Lash Rifle sections normally have line 1, so I would score 2 points for each of these objectives. However, both Lash Rifle sections have line of sight of my line command section, and both are within 18 inches of it. Both units boost their line special rule to line 2. I would now score 3 points for each of these objectives, giving me a total of 6 points. An example of the Infantry Tercio would be as follows. I filled both my troop slots with 20-man Lash Rifle sections, all equipped with Lash Rifles with bayonets and blast chargers to really surprise tougher and heavier enemies. I have equipped both the sergeants with power fists and needle pistols. I've given each unit an Auxilia Vexilla to help them keep cool under fire, and a Vox Interlock in case they do panic. One squad has also been upgraded with a Master Sergeant for an extra bit of oomph in close combat. I've also taken a 6-man squadron of Hermes Light Sentinels in the recon slot, all armed with Hermes grenade launchers to probe forward and harass enemies. Finally, I've taken 2 Drakuzan armoured transports to ferry my Lash Rifle sections into battle. One is armed with a Demolisher cannon and a heavy flamer for splatting infantry, while the other has a las cannon and a multi-laser for dueling with armour. Both have been given 2 Hunter-Killer missiles. This is an incredibly punchy and deadly detachment that will throw out a huge amount of firepower and can take a surprising amount back. It costs 837 points. Bearing in mind you would also require a line command section to unlock it. Note, this is just an example, and as ever, how you build your detachment is entirely up to you. This Tercio is excellent for unlocking a diverse range of units and for making your scoring capabilities much higher using your Lash Rifle sections. However, you need to place your line command section carefully in order to benefit from the close order special rule, and thinking about how your army moves forward to claim objectives is key. Next, let's look at the Veletaris Tercio. This Tercio represents the hard-hitting elite arm of the Solar Auxilia. Professional veterans in void-sealed armour designed to storm enemy ships through brutal boarding actions, armed with heavy blades and devastating Volkite weaponry. This Tercio is ideal for adding some real hard-hitting power to your army. First of all, you must select a Veletaris command section in one of your command force organisation slots. When a Veletaris command section is selected, you can unlock one Veletaris Tercio. The Veletaris command section with no upgrades costs 75 points. The Veletaris Tercio has 5 force organisation slots, 2 very powerful elite slots, 1 support slot, and 2 heavy transport slots. The first elite slot is also a prime slot. The Veletaris Tercio comes with a few stipulations on what units you can select. The elite slots can only be used for Veletaris Storm sections or Veletaris Vanguard sections, and the support slots can only be used for Hermes Veletaris squadrons. Otherwise, all these units' individual upgrades and options are available, and there are no limitations on the heavy transport slots. All models and units in this detachment gain the Veletaris Tercio trait. This trait allows the units in this detachment to interact with the Veletaris command section in a unique way using the special rule Hold the Line. If, during the battle, an enemy uses a reaction to return fire on a unit with the Veletaris Tercio trait and the Vanguard X special rule, so long as the unit can draw line of sight to a Veletaris command section as within 18 inches of that command section, then the unit immediately gains a very powerful Feel No Pain 5+. Only a single model in the unit needs to have line of sight and be within 18 inches for the whole unit to benefit from the buff. Feel No Pain is a damage mitigation roll and kicks in if your Veletaris models fail their regular saving throws. Essentially, this gives your models a 4+ saving throw, followed by a 5+ damage mitigation saving throw. This makes your units incredibly tough and difficult to shift, and can see them even shrug off attacks from heavy, high AP weapons. Even better, the unit also gains the 5+ feel no pain against shooting attacks made via volley attacks. So when charging into combat, or being the target of a charge, the unit would get the feel no pain 5+ against any volley attacks from the enemy unit. This would also kick in if your unit falls back from combat and the enemy chooses the gun down aftermath option. Positioning is key for this Tercio, and a pair of heavily armed and armoured Veletaris sections in clear line of sight of their command section can prove a hefty challenge to shift. My Veletaris Storm section is moving towards an enemy tactical squad on an objective, all within line of sight of my Veletaris command section. I'm keen to score Vanguard on the enemy unit. I open fire with the section's Volkite chargers, and my opponent declares that they will use a reaction point to return fire. As my unit has both the Vanguard trait and the Veletaris Tercio trait, and is in line of sight and within 18 inches of its command section, it will immediately benefit from a 5+ feel no pain. In the ensuing firefight, I kill half the tactical squad, but thanks to my unit's 4+ saving throw and 5+ feel no pain, I only lose a single model. Feeling confident, I declare a charge on the enemy tacticals. In the volley fire step of the charge process, I would make a volley attack on the enemy unit, and any survivors would then make a volley attack back at me. I would also gain a 5+ feel no pain against this reactionary fire. My Volkites annihilate several more Marines, and again I only lose a single model to the enemy's volley attack, thanks to my model's 4+ saving throw and 5+ feel no pain. My unit charges in and finishes the last of the tacticals, scoring me Vanguard 3. Note that this is not for all shooting attacks made against the Veletaris Tercio unit, just shooting attacks made as part of a reaction and volley fire. An example of the Veletaris Tercio would be as follows. I have taken 2 large 20-man Veletaris sections, 1 Storm and 1 Vanguard. For the Storm section, I have upgraded 9 of the Veletarii to have Storm Axes. The Veletarii Prime has a Storm Axe also, as well as a Needle Pistol. Meanwhile, the Vanguards all have Heavy Flamers, except the Veletarii Prime, who has a Power Fist and a Needle Pistol. I have also given the Storm section the Master Sergeant Prime benefit. Alongside these squads, I will take a full 6-man squadron of Hermes Veletaris, 4 armed with Volkite Calaviers, and 2 armed with Heavy Flamers. They will act as close fire support for the Veletarii squads, hopefully panicking enemies that their heavy Volkites do not atomize. Finally, I have taken 2 Drakuzan armoured transports, both identical. As they will act as close infantry support, I've given them both Demolisher cannons, Heavy Flamers, and Dozer blades. This full detachment costs 916 points. It is designed to get into enemy infantry fast, and unleashing a huge amount of status inflicting fire. The 2 massive Veletaris sections will also help with scoring Vanguard. However, they may struggle against heavier armour and heavier units, and so would need fire support from my own tanks and support units. Do bear in mind that this is just an example for a Veletaris Tercio, and you would also need to choose a Veletaris command section to unlock it. Now let's talk about one of the most iconic Tercios, the Artillery Tercio. What the Auxilia lack in transhuman fury, they more than make up for with long-range, indiscriminate, explosive death. The artillery of the Auxilia have seen many an opponent destroyed before they've even had a chance to react. This Tercio represents your army's heaviest and longest range weapons. First of all, you must select an artillery command section in one of your command force organisation slots. When an artillery command section is selected, you can unlock 1 Artillery Tercio. The artillery command section with no upgrades or options costs 65 points. The Artillery Tercio has 3 force organisation slots. All 3 are support slots, none of which are prime. The Artillery Tercio comes with a few stipulations on what units you can select. The support slots can only be used to unlock Rapier sections, Earthshaker artillery tanks, or Medusa artillery tanks. Note, you do not need to choose the same unit for all 3 of the slots. The Rapier section in particular has access to all its various options, but it would be most beneficial to use one of the options that have the barrage special rule, such as the Mole Mortar or the Quad Launcher. Immediately, this Tercio is fantastic in its scope, allowing you to potentially unlock 3 very hard-hitting and very long-range units. It becomes even more powerful as all models and units in this detachment gain the Artillery Tercio trait. This trait allows units in this detachment to interact with the artillery command section in a unique way using the special rule Precision Bombardment. If a unit with the Artillery Tercio trait is within 18 inches of an artillery command section, then its indirect fire becomes more accurate. Note, the unit does not need line of sight on the command section, it simply must have a model within 18 inches of it. When making a barrage attack via indirect fire, the Tercio unit would roll the scatter dice and required number of d6 as normal. However, it can then subtract its ballistic skill score away from the dice roll. If this would take the dice roll to a 0, then it would score a direct hit. This only works with indirect fire and has no effect on regular fire made with line of sight. I have 3 Medusa tanks behind some ruins, and they will open fire on a squad of enemy demons rushing towards my lines. All 3 have the Artillery Tercio trait, and all are within 18 inches of my artillery command section, who is tucked safely away in a nearby foxhole. They do not have line of sight on the demons, so will fire indirectly. Each will make a shooting attack using the Barrage special rule. Medusas have the Barrage 2 special rule, meaning I can fire indirectly at enemies but would roll a scatter dice and 2d6 when doing so. Any models underneath the template after it scatters is hit by the shooting attack. My first Medusa fires and the shot scatters 6 inches. However, with my Artillery Tercio special rule, I can deduct the Medusa's ballistic skill from this score. All the Medusas have a ballistic skill of 3. 6 take away 3 equals 3, so my shot would only scatter 3 inches. I kill several of the demons. My second Medusa fires and the shot scatters 8 inches. This would normally miss, but taking 3 inches away thanks to my Artillery Tercio special rule means I would only scatter 5 inches and at least hit a few of the enemies. More demons are blasted into paste. My final Medusa fires, and again its shot scatters, this time 3 inches. But with my Tercio rule, I subtract my ballistic skill and score 0, a direct hit. This final shot utterly annihilates the oncoming horrors. My front line is safe for now. This detachment uses my favourite example of the Artillery Tercio, 3 Medusa tanks with pintle mounted heavy flamers. They will chuck out 3 large blasts per turn. All can be fired indirectly, and thanks to the Tercio special rule are more accurate than regular barrages. Even better, if they remain stationary, they will be firing at strength 10, damage 2 and breaching 5+. Anything they do not immediately destroy will also face a hefty pinning 2 test afterward as well. This particular example would cost 450 points. However, as with all Tercios, you can craft the detachment to better suit your needs. Just remember that you need an artillery command section in one of your command slots to benefit from them. Next up is one of the most unique Tercios, the Scout Tercio. Although the legions of the Solar Auxilia mainly specialised in static defence and set-piece battles, their forces are supported by Hermes Scout Squadrons, powerful bipedal war machines that range ahead of the main force, harassing enemies and keeping them on the back foot. First of all, you must select a Hermes command section in one of your command force organisation slots. When a Hermes command section is selected, you can unlock one Scout Tercio. The Hermes command section, with no upgrades or options, costs 75 points. The Scout Tercio has 3 force organisation slots, 2 recon slots and 1 war engine slot. This is brilliant, as usually unlocking war engines alongside other units can be difficult. None of these slots are prime slots. The Scout Tercio comes with a few stipulations on what units you can select. The recon slots can only be used for Hermes light sentinel squadrons, and the war engine slot can only be used for an Aethon heavy sentinel squadron. Otherwise, all these units' individual upgrades and war gear are available. All models and units in this detachment gain the Scout Tercio trait. This trait makes the sentinel units within all especially devastating when shooting thanks to the Preemptive Strike special rule. If any model with this trait is within 18 inches of the Hermes command section, then it and its unit immediately gain the Firestorm special rule. This rule means that volley attacks made by the unit are made at full ballistic skill. and the unit can end the charge process after making volley attacks. It does not need to actually charge the enemy unit. Even better, the unit does not need line of sight on the Hermes command section. This is huge and effectively doubles the amount of fire your Sentinels can chuck out. As they also have the implacable advance rule, they can use any weapon in volley attacks provided it does not have either the heavy or ordnance special rule. My Light Sentinel Squadron and Aethon Squadrons are both within 18 inches of my Hermes command section. Both open fire on enemy units, inflicting several casualties but not killing the units outright. In the assault phase, I declare that both units will charge the enemy units. As both have the Scout Tercio trait and are within 18 inches of my Hermes command squadron, then they both gain the Firestorm special rule. Knowing this, I do not make a setup move, and I make a full round of shooting with all my non-heavy and non-ordnance weapons at full ballistic skill once again. This wipes out both enemy units. If any had survived, I could have also chosen to end the charge process early and not charge into the enemy without the need for any kind of cool check. I love this Tercio, and it can level a devastating amount of fire at the enemy. An example of the Tercio is as follows. I've taken two 6-man squadrons of Hermes Light Sentinels, one with multi-lasers and one with Hermes grenade launchers. I've also taken a 3-man Aethon squadron in the War Machine slot and equipped them with heavy incinerators and hunter-killer batteries. All these options can be used with the unit's implacable advanced special rule, and all can be used in volley attacks because of it. This is a staggering amount of firepower to dump onto enemy units, and will present a real danger on enemy flanks. However, as the Tercio special rule only activates when within range of the Hermes command section, you need to be very careful against high damage weapons which may snipe out the command sentinels. This is simply an example though, and you can tailor your Scout Tercio to your liking. And as with the other Tercios, you do need the appropriate command option to select it. Finally, we have probably the most iconic of the Tercios, the Armour Tercio. The Auxilia's battles are frequently won on the back of hordes of armoured fighting vehicles, and many an enemy has been ground to dust under the treads of Lemon Russ and Malcator battle tanks. This Tercio allows you to field heavy armour and the heaviest of weapons. First of all, you must select an armoured command section in one of your command force organisation slots. When an armoured command section is selected, you can unlock one Armour Tercio. The Armour command section with no upgrades or options costs 150 points. You can also unlock this Tercio using the Dracozan command tank. This is a high command option, but otherwise interacts with the Armour Tercio units in the same way as the Armour command section. A Dracozan command tank with no upgrades costs 200 points. The Armour Tercio has 3 force organisation slots. All 3 are unsurprisingly armour slots, and none are prime. The Armour Tercio comes with a few stipulations on what units you can select. The armour slots can only be used to select Lemon Russ strike tanks, Lemon Russ assault tanks, and Malcator heavy tanks. Note that you do not need to make all 3 slots the same type of unit, and all weapons and upgrades are available to all units chosen within. All models and units in this detachment gain the Armour Tercio trait. This trait provides the tanks within an improved auto repair when they are near either the Armoured command section or the Dracozan command tank using the Armoured Warfare special rule. If any model with the Armour Tercio trait is within 18 inches of either the Armour command section or the Dracozan command tank, then it immediately gains a 4+ auto repair when removing status effects. In the statuses subphase at the end of your turn, your tanks are even more likely to remove statuses needing a 4+ on 1d6 to do so. The unit does not need line of sight on the command section or the command tank to benefit from this effect. I have 2 Lemon Russ tanks, both of which have statuses. Both have the Armour Tercio trait, but only one is within 18 inches of my Armour command section. In the statuses subphase, I can try and remove a single status effect from my tanks using an auto repair test. The farther away Lemon Russ would require the standard armour repair test roll, which is a roll of a 6 on 1d6. Unfortunately, it fails the auto repair test and it remains statused. The closer Lemon Russ is within 18 inches of the command section and so has its auto repair buffed to 4+ instead. I would now need a 4+ on 1d6 to remove the status. I pass and can immediately remove the tank's status effect. Note that you would still only get one auto repair attempt per vehicle in the status subphase, and auto repair is only to remove statuses, not repair hull points. This is an extremely customizable tercio and provides some real hard-hitting firepower. An example might be an anti-vehicle tercio, 3 Lemon Russ strike tanks, all armed with Vanquisher cannons, hull-mounted las cannons, pinto-mounted multi-lasers, hunter-killer missiles, dozer blades, and searchlights. This is a frightening prospect even for Armour 14 vehicles. This tercio would cost 555 points. This is simply an example though, and you can tailor your Armour Tercio to your liking depending on what you need it to achieve. As with the other tercios, you do need to take an appropriate command option to select it, with the extra flexibility of the Drakazan command tank also unlocking the tercio. Essentially, a tercio is a special detachment you unlock by choosing a specific command option, and the units from that detachment gain special rules for being near the specific command option. In this way, with careful deployment and planning, you can make your Auxilia a real force to be reckoned with. But one question you may have is, can you build an army only using tercios? And the answer is a resounding yes. For 3000 points, I could unlock every command section and every tercio, creating a layered and multifunctioning list that is a jack of all trades. This army would benefit from all the tercio special rules and could adapt to several different missions and game types. However, as it hasn't specialised in any one area, it might struggle with specific challenges and enemy units. I could also buff it further with a cohort doctrine such as Mechanised Pattern Cohort, and a Legion Auxilia designation such as Barbaran and Baxtioi. All these systems interacting give Solar Auxilia players an enormous range of options and playstyles, and taking the time to think about all the moving parts of your detachments is incredibly rewarding. Tercios are a fantastic addition to the Solar Auxilia army, and not only reward you for building and playing to the Auxilia strengths, but can also be used to create either a devastating combined arms force, but also lean right into one specific theme heavily. As the tercios are not mandatory and can be taken alongside the regular detachments from the core rulebook, you can create any kind of Solar Auxilia force you can think of. And that is the fundamentals of the Solar Auxilia tercios. Thank you very much for watching.